It is just after 8 p.m. in Nairobi. This is Sidebar. I'm Dr. Madowo. Welcome to the show.
Wallace Kantai, born and bred, well, born in Nairobi, bred in somewhere else, but
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Yes, Kisumu County.
The great county of Kisumu.
Just so you know that I moved back to Nairobi, and we decided to call.
That's why all your good positive qualities are from Kisumu.
Possibly, but first, before we go too far and tell you who's on our show tonight, we want to take a look and see what has been going on in 60 seconds.
Our main goal is to deliver services for the people of Nairobi. Services that Governor Evans Kidero has failed miserably. That's our main goal.
If they claim that they love Nairobi, they live in Nairobi. Why did they go and be members of parliament in a rural constituency?
Hii si wakati ya kucheza na kugamble na Nairobi. You've seen the numbers. Hakuna community ikiwa peke yake inaweza deliver Nairobi.
Mtupatie wananchi nafasi ya kuamua na kujichagulia viongozi wao, na hao ni team Nairobi.
A time comes when leadership, and not just leadership, but exemplary leadership, must be sacrificial. Leadership must bring people together.
Tunataka a whole human being ndio tuwashinde vizuri. Mtu asikuje kama amevunjika aseme hakuwa sawa sawa.
And the governor of County 47, Governor Evans Kidero, is now among us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah.
Governor Evans Kidero. Yes.
I know. I think we'll discuss Odhiambo because you know the emphasis of Odhiambo is deliberate. Deliberate.
Congratulations on getting a direct nomination to run again in Nairobi.
Yeah, Nyalhodia.
You got your nomination, Nyalhodia.
Nyalhodia.
Which is now an English word. What does it mean?
It means bila kupingwa. It's an English word.
It is the deepest of words. Let me just start off from, we just read there what an aspirant for the seat of the Nairobi governor's seat, Peter Kenneth, says you have failed miserably.
I think there are three things Peter Kenneth said. He said he's been disappointed. Disappointed comes from the word dis and appoint. You can only be unhappy with somebody you've appointed. When I was being elected, Peter Kenneth was, he ran for presidency and he voted in Gatanga, in Muranga. So chances are that the governor he elected was a Muranga governor. So in the strictest of the sense of the word, it's impossible that I can disappoint him because he never made a choice on me. However, having said that, the second thing, and I think we did talk about that, you can hear when he's calling me Odhiambo with emphasis. Wallace, I think, did you say that you felt that emphasis?
I felt the emphasis, yeah.
You felt the emphasis?
Yeah.
He's basically trying to address an audience and telling them he's not one of us.
He's ruralizing you.
Not ruralizing. He's saying, I'm not one of them. Because I guess, I mean, his platform is very ethnic.
So you think he is trying to profile you in an ethnic box?
He is trying to profile me in an ethnic box. Because, I mean, I know him as Peter Kenneth. I've never used him. Those are the names by which he's known. That's what I call him. I'm known as Evans Kidero. That's the names that people know.
That's a brand name. But more than Peter Kenneth, the instant we said you're going to come on the show, we started getting all this flood of communication on Twitter, on Facebook, on all sorts of other platforms that said, please tell the governor he's disappointed us. So this is not about Peter Kenneth, not about anyone else. Nairobi is in a state which we don't want it to be, and when you were coming in, that wasn't the promise that you made.
I think what we must accept first is that when I got in, Nairobi was in a hole, right? And when you get into a hole, what you do is stop digging. And we stopped that. We stopped the digging. Nairobi never had a strategic plan. Nairobi never had a development plan. We now have a new plan which defines how Nairobi goes. I mean, you must be aware that the first plan was done in 1927, next one 1948, the other one 1963 and 73, and all of them never took effect. The one that is now being implemented with the district plans is the one we did recently, which we launched in, we did between 2013 and 2014. The second thing is we never had a strategic plan. We've just done that. And even so, you'll recall we had lots of ghost workers, and we cleaned that 3,000, but we still have more workers than we need. But nonetheless, we've been able, right across from education to health.
But you know what? You're a politician. Well, you're a manager turned politician, and you must appreciate the fact that people will say you don't eat strategic plans. You don't smell strategic plans, but they can smell their garbage. They can see the people back on the streets who are a danger and a menace to them by way of street children. They can see how much disorganization the city is in. For heaven's sake, they can even see how you break traffic laws, at least vehicles that bear your number plate are breaking traffic laws, which is a sign of just the city going into anarchy.
Let me take, I think you've raised a number of points. So one is the traffic. We registered 50 years ago, and I don't need to take you that back far. We had 1,200 kilometers of roads paved, and in 50 years we only added 600. In the last 4 years, I've added 150 kilometers of county roads, and I think it would be important to define what are county, who is responsible for county roads, and which are the non-county roads. Vehicles have moved from what it was 4,000 to currently 600,000 on only 600 added kilometers of roads. Of course, I mean you expect congestion. We passed a law that we were going to get rid of 14-seaters because we have 30,000 public service vehicles. If we replaced them by, if we insisted and said only 51-seaters, which is the regulation that was passed, we would reduce the number of vehicles plying on our routes, the public service vehicle, by 2/3.
Right.
But you had the president vetoed the law that had been passed that was going to remove the 14-seaters. And I mean, obviously he had good reasons, probably agree with him, because I mean, you can't be taking vehicles out and denying people jobs when they need jobs.
Okay, I want to judge you based on your own words. So this was your inauguration speech on 27th March 2013, and I want to play it back for you, and then we can talk about this.
Yeah.
Here.
Currently, the topmost of concerns of our residents are about unemployment, insecurity, water, sanitation, housing, health and transport.
4 years later, aren't those still the same concerns?
There's still concerns. I mean, let's take creation of jobs. When we came in, we were only approving we were only approving 1 million square meters of construction space. Now we are doing, with the e-construction, 5 million square meters, which means people employed in the construction industry has gone 5 times. It used to take between a year to 18 months to approve high-rise buildings. Now it's taken, when you put everything together, it takes a month.
I just want to put that up one more time, and I've got it in a graphic so we can go through it. It's unemployment, insecurity, water, sanitation, health, and transport.
Yeah.
4 years later, you could give the exact same speech, and the same problems would be the problems Nairobians have.
But not on the same magnitude, because I mean, what you're saying is, take the number of people who come into the city. 1.2 million people get into the job market every year. 800,000 of them end up in Nairobi. And mind you, I mean, it's not really, it's not only the county government that creates jobs. But I gave you an example where we've fivefold people in the construction industry because of expedited approvals. Number 2 is health, which I promised. When we came in, the only maternity hospital that we had was Pumwani. We've increased the bed capacity in Pumwani by 500 beds. We've done a 120-bed hospital in Bagathi. And we have converted 25 health centers. We've converted 17 health centers into 24-hour service. When we came in, we were only seeing, the former city council was seeing only 200,000 patients a month. We're now seeing 500,000 patients in a month. We only had 1 mortuary. We built a 110 mortuary capacity in so
Governor, you have a very good grasp of the statistics around this in the county you run. I want to specifically in your speech about the first 100 days, these are the things you set out to do. 1, getting the garbage out of the city streets and residential districts. 2, restoring order in the traffic flow in Nairobi and the human traffic on the CBD streets. 3, decongesting the city in general and the CBD in particular. 4, controlling crime and enhancing security and city planning.
Oh, security is a national government issue because I don't have policemen, right? But all the same, security has improved because we've improved the lighting system. When we came in, the number of crimes being reported a month was over 2,000 in a month, 60 to 70 a day. Right now, the crimes being reported are down to 60 or 70, maybe down 30-fold.
What about garbage?
Garbage, when we came, we were only collecting 300 tons. Now we're collecting 2,200 tons.
Are you saying, and let me get this, because Larry has played back what we had you say in 2013, and this is you saying today, that all the numbers are pointing upwards. Are you saying Nairobians in their millions are mistaken by saying they feel worse about the city?
I think, I mean, what you see is what registers. What I'm saying is that Nairobi is much better than it was when I came in.
Because there was a tangible change, and I'll take you back maybe another 15 years or so, when one of the town clerks came in, this is John Gakuo came in, and people said, you know what, we may not understand internal city politics, we may not understand things like city planning and procurement and all this ghost workers and everything, but we feel the city is cleaner, it is safer, it is a better place to live. They're saying the exact opposite about your tenure.
But statistics show otherwise. What we are doing, what is being reported, and this is not creation. I mean, garbage is garbage. If you collect a ton, you've collected a ton. We used to collect 300 per day. We are now collecting 200, and we take it. We take it to Dandora. You talk. The other issue that you raised was on traffic. You know, on Schedule 4, we are responsible for parking, but the control of traffic still remains with traffic police and NTSA.
But you promised to decongest the city in general. You
and you knew those laws existed.
In your
I did.
speech.
I tried to remove the traffic police from the road. You know the gridlock that it cost. Kantai, you know that, don't you?
So we will get back to the traffic issue and your motorcade and everything else about Nairobi, and please send us your questions, comments for the Governor of the County of Nairobi, Evans Kidero, right now on Sidebar. But we're going to a break. We'll come back on the other side to speak more about the state of the city of Nairobi.
Welcome back to Sidebar. We're sitting here with my colleague Wallace Kantai and the Governor of Nairobi, Dr. Evans Kidero. Thank you so much for being here. I want to ask you a question that I think came up just as we were on the break, which you need to respond to directly. Why is it that his motorcade is always on the wrong side and 80% of garbage lorries are his?
And answer both questions. By the way.
I don't own any garbage lorries.
But they are
Is that what they meant?
That's, I think, what they meant.
They're associated with you. That's what people say.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the garbage lorries are either contractors whom we've hired, or they belong to the county government.
Are you one of the contractors?
Absolutely not.
No companies associated with you or your family?
Absolutely. Absolutely not.
Your motorcade being on the wrong side of the road. I asked you this before the break.
My
quickly said
motorcade is probably they go a little bit faster because of security issues and
But what security? Who wants to come after you? Because we always get this thing from governors
Yes,
and senators
yes.
and members of parliament and everyone else. But who's after you?
No, but we know. I mean, we know what has happened in Nairobi when politicians, even in the past, have been. So I guess my security team, I don't control how they manage. They are managed at some point, and I guess, I mean, they are on orders, and I can't interfere with what they do.
But doesn't that contribute then to the disorder of the city? Because if people see that the Governor 047A, GK has gone past, or whatever number plate he has, someone else is going to be some minister, someone else is going to be a member of parliament, a senator, and everyone else. I mean, so everyone takes privileges, and now it starts becomes private citizens taking privileges.
I think security is not a privilege issue. Security is the security, and I think it's because of security concerns that the security teams do what they do. When I drive myself over the weekend, when I don't have security, and on Sundays, I don't jump lights. I do not overtake. I do not overlap.
In terms of where the city is today, there was a report that came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago that was an international report and said Nairobi is not actually a city. Nairobi is just a collection of villages that have nothing to do with each other. You cannot get from one part of the city to the other in less than 2 or 3 hours. The livability of the city is not where it should be. So Nairobi is simply a collection of villages. That is a direct indictment on what you're doing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't probably referring to the Economist report.
Yes.
And I would refer to the same, that in 2012, we were number 139 next to Tehran. In the latest one, we are number 102. So we have improved, unless it's a different report you're referring to, on the livability index, where Melbourne is still number 1.
I want to talk about, back to that 100-day plan, getting the garbage out of the city streets and its residential districts. We went out today and took some pictures of what the city looks like today. These are from my colleagues of the Daily Nation. I want you to look at the screen, and you see this is a cross-section of this middle of the city. You promised to get rid of the garbage in 100 days. In 4 years, this is what it looks like.
Part of that is Nairobi River. There's street boys who we spoke about. It looks filthy. You want to respond to
What
that?
is your reaction to this? Your
I
response?
think that's obviously that's uncollected garbage, but I think we will get it collected. We collect they go around, but you know there's quite a bit of dumping where people the private garbage collectors collect, but rather than take it to Dandora, from what I can see there, that's actually dumped garbage.
But are you not in control of that? The point I think people make about all these things is that you almost sound as helpless as I would. So if I see a lorry dumping garbage where it shouldn't, I have no control of it, but you're the governor of the city. You're the governor of the county of Nairobi.
Unless you are probably, I'm sure you're aware because we discussed it the last time we were here, where private garbage collectors went to court and got stay orders against us enforcing or controlling them. I mean, we are about to end that case. But what I'm saying, our garbage collectors, private garbage collectors whom we've contracted, plus our lorries, we're now collecting over 2,000 tons. And even these ones, they dump and we still collect. But I'm not claiming any helplessness. I'm quite determined. I'll get the case resolved, and we will control them.
As you collect 2,000 tons, there's obviously so much more tonnage that's uncollected, as we can clearly see from these. As governor of Nairobi, are you proud of this situation?
Of course I'm not, because I mean, the total tonnage average is about 2,400. We collect 2,000, 2,100, 300 tons to collect by these private garbage collectors who've gone to court to stop us from controlling them. And they're the people who are dumping. And what I said is that we are more or less towards the tail end of the case, and we will control them, but we continue collecting what they've done.
You know, I'm laughing because my colleague Alphonse Chiundu has just sent a text. He says, this is very interesting. He says, does it mean that during the weekend you're more secure and during the weekdays you're insecure? And if that's the case, then what causes this insecurity during the week? If you're saying it's a security issue about you driving on the wrong side of the road when you're in your motorcade and you drive yourself, you stick to traffic rules like the rest of us.
During the weekend, nobody knows I'm driving. While during the week, my vehicles are known.
You talked about, again, one of your other plans for 100 days.
Doesn't matter. I believe that makes sense. Yeah.
Let's leave it to the people to judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the other plans for 100 days, controlling crime and enhancing security and city planning. I want to start with an immediate problem right now. The city families, the street families are back in full swing all over the city. This endangers the life of citizens, but also why can these children be rehabilitated? Why can't they have some kind of help?
On Schedule 4, the street families and the money, the 300 million, which is given every year, is with the Ministry of Devolution. But all the same, we still do our bit. Every 3 months, like the last one we did in December was to collect. We repatriated well over 12,000 children and adults. We worked with national government, and we identified where they were, and we took them back. And you take them back, they come back, you take them back. And even now, we are in the process of repatriating them again.
You promised within 100 days to control crime, enhance security, and plan the city. 4 years later, how have you done on that?
I'll produce the new plan. Number 2, we've enhanced approvals from what used to take between 6 months to a year to now a month. That's the reason why the construction space in any given year has gone up from 1 million square meters to 5 million square meters.
One of the things that the city of Nairobi was famous for in the past was county askaris. You know, they'd come in, they'd mistreat business people, they'd catch you carrying vegetables from home and put you in the back of a truck and harass people. That hasn't stopped. These are people directly under your control. They still go around in these very dilapidated pickup trucks looking for people to harass. I have seen it myself not more than a month ago. People report it all the time. Why is it that the city employees cannot deal with the city residents in a way that is humane and is able to give them dignity?
These are hangover from the days of Kanjo days, and that's a culture that we are getting rid of. We are retraining them. We are taking them through culture change programs. We are training them and telling them our job is to offer services, not to harass wananchi. And if at all somebody has committed a crime or done what they should not do, they should be treated according to the prescription of the law. And I think we aren't quite there, but we are getting there. Secondly, we also have people who really don't work for the county government. They have fake IDs, and they go harassing people, and we've arrested quite a number, and even that one is on the downward trend. And it's not just limited to the people harassing hawkers. We have them in inspections, and we are dealing with them. And it's much better than it was before.
I want to make sure you're getting the feedback from the people that are watching. This is Gabriel Mwangi, who says, Kidero has let us down, especially on planning. Rivers are filthy, street families, air quality. And this one, Ernest, I'd like you to ask Kidero this question directly. Do you think you have failed Nairobians?
I haven't failed Nairobi. Nairobi is much better than when I came in.
How do you judge that?
Statistics again?
No, I mean, we are treating more people, we are collecting more garbage, services are a lot more expedited. And also, I mean, how do you measure how well you're doing unless you have statistics?
If traffic and security is a national government matter, this is F. Rakibs who's asking, why did he give us that speech if he can't deliver? Goes back to what we were pointing out earlier. If you knew all these things were not under the domain of county government.
And this is within 100 days
yes,
that is promising.
But you promised. And changing the laws takes a while. We know how the intergovernment relations operate. Why then did you promise it?
Because I had every intention of doing my contribution to do it. I still have I still have every intention to do it. You'll recall when I came in, the lights were not working. I got them to work. You will recall as well that for you to institute order, the people who are being managed must always see the need. Fortunately, I haven't seen you throwing garbage or throwing empty bottles. But the city cannot be, we cannot be clean unless people want to be clean themselves. If everybody kept their door clean, we'd have a very, very clean city.
But Governor, if you're saying that you're unable to do what you promised in 100 days, you're not able to do it in 4 years, why would you get another 5 years to try and do it?
Because I've instituted a number of programs which are in progress. And what I would like to do is to come back and finish it. Because
but the laws remain the same, the environment remains the same, the intergovernmental relations remain the same. Those are not under your control, the same way they're not, according to what you're saying, in 2013. So what you're saying, you'll come back and still come back here in 2022 and say the laws were not very helpful?
Absolutely not. Because, I mean, take, for example, one of the things I said was renewal of the estates. It took a bit of time to get the title deeds. It took a bit of time to plan. But we've in the process of launching the reconstruction of Ngara, the Bachelors, Pangani, Fort Jesus, right across the river. I mean, the process takes a bit of time. It's a big investment. It's an investment of in excess of $1 billion. So, yes, it takes time, but we are at the takeoff stage.
Okay. I want to leave it there just for the moment. We have to take a quick break. Can we open the phone lines when we come back? You want to hear directly from some Nairobians? Excellent, guys. Can we open the phone lines when we come back? We'll continue speaking to Governor Kidero into the 9 p.m. hour because there's just plenty to talk about. Stick around.
Welcome back to Sidebar with Larry, Madowo and myself. And for the full hour and more, we have the Governor of the 47th County, Nairobi County, Evans Kidero. Quick one before we get into the political issues. There's this thing that's just been done by the national government, which is the National Master Plan for Nairobi Transport. I think it's called NAMATA or something like that. The fear becomes that you have county government, then you have this big overlay of another authority that's on top of that, and soon enough we will not know who's in charge of what.
I think, I mean, the way it will operate, NAMATA, which comprises the Minister of Transport, Nairobi County government, and because it will be servicing what you call the dormitory counties, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu and Murang'a are part of it. And this body will have a council and it will have a board, of course funded centrally, and they will be the ones who will be, this is the body that will implement the mass transit system, both light rail, the mass bus rapid transport system. And basically it will be controlled by this council, which is comprised by the governors and the Ministry of Transport.
Okay, I want to get some feedback real quick, but as we do that, we're going to open the phone lines for you so you can ask the governor a couple of questions, depending on how much time we have for that. The numbers will come up shortly. But on Twitter, Brian Odido says, let's give Governor Kidero a break. You guys can't point out anything positive within the 5 years that there are good things that he has done. So not everybody's against you. I should point that out.
That's very true. I pointed that out to you.
Mercy Gaki, Kidero has lost focus. The corruption in his office has cost Nairobi no development. You don't want to respond to that?
I mean, that's an observation, it's not a question.
Ken says, enough of these plans. When is he planning to implement the same? He talks big but acts small. Sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I've just taken through a number of things that we are doing, because a plan on its own is useless. A plan is no good unless you implement it.
Gidambo said, hang on, Willis. What happened to moving Matatu's madness out of town? Also shuttles and dedicated lanes.
Moving Matatus out of town? I mean, you know, we've done the bus park in Desai Road and Park Road, and is 90% complete. And that's where all the vehicles coming from that side will be.
Do you have any timelines when that might be?
Within the next 4 months.
Within the next 4 months. Within the next 4 months will be just close to the election.
I'll be back. I'll still be here. No, which is what I was going to Governor Kidero. Larry, all these plans, and let's admit that you have been doing quite a bit of planning, clean up and all these other things that you say you've been doing for the last 4 years. There is a chance, because an election is an election, Hillary lost and Trump won, that you could have someone else implementing your plans for you.
No, actually it's not a plan. It's something I've said we've done the bus parks and car parks.
No, I'm talking about the broader strategic plan for Nairobi, is that you've worked on it for the last 4 years. It seems to me that from what you're saying, it's more or less perfected. The election comes, you lose, someone else comes in, and they say, you know what, now Nairobi is doing very well under Governor Larry Madowo, and people forget about it.
That's the reason why I must come back, so that I can have it to my name.
Okay. Mwangi says, my governor, you have really tried to put things right in Nairobi. Personally, I would suggest more of public participation.
He's absolutely right.
All right. This one is Ken again. The Nairobi governor failed us in service delivery. So he measures his performance on the number of tons he's collected. GIGO, I think that means garbage in, garbage out. And Kamba Sensei, with the billions County 47 makes, in 4 years, Kidero has not created a single permanent job for a university graduate. Astonishing statistic. Is that true even? That's
not true, because I mean, we have employed people, we've created jobs. We have, the last one probably, which I never told you, is we are building a factory where garbage is going to be sorted out and generate electricity, which is going to create 2,000 jobs out in Dandora, 27 billion shillings.
Late February, President Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto launched a very, I should say, personal attack on you and the ODM government in the city. I want to play back that. All right, we don't quite have it yet, but the president, for the first time in the 4 years he has been in charge, said that your government, the ODM government elected in Nairobi, had failed the citizens, and it was as a result of your leadership.
Was it in English?
It was, I believe, part of it is in English, part of it in Swahili.
No.
I can see where you're going with that. I can see where you're going with that.
There was an accompanying statement that that said what he didn't say in the soundbite.
Just play it. You'll get to hear it. It was not in English.
No, but either way,
do we have it, guys? All right.
Either way, Governor Kidero, and I see where you're getting with that. When you play it, probably everyone else is where you're getting with it. Both are relevant.
No, I'm not getting...
Because it goes back to the Odhiambo thing that we spoke about.
I'm not getting to it anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I just say that, I mean, if you want to do criticism of me or my county government, say it in a language that everybody understands.
All right, here it is. Go.
Alafu serikali hapa Nairobi mkapatiana kwa wengine hapo. Sasa kupanga barabara hawawezi. Kupanga maji hawawezi. Hata ile maji tumepanga kutoka Ndagaine wanapinga.
mtuletee mtu ambaye mnajua anajali masilahi ya wananchi wa mji wa Nairobi. Na huyo ndio tutafanya kazi naye. Yangu ni kuwaomba kitu kimoja peke yake. Mtuletee mtu huyo kupitia chama cha Jubilee. Hiyo ndio nitawaomba. Mkubali tuchague serikali ya Jubilee mwaka huu Nairobi, tuone mabadiliko ile ambayo itakuweko. Tuone mabadiliko. Sio serikali ambayo inabomoa manyumba ya watu. Sio serikali ambayo inabomoa vibanda vya watu. Sio serikali ambayo haina haja na soko ya kawaida ya mwananchi.
Your reaction, Governor?
I think the actual words which were said, you've left out.
That is just that we didn't play the whole speech, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's the
it
general
would be nice
direction.
if you played the exact
What is captured even in those bits does say specifically that they don't want your government, they want a Jubilee government because you have not been good to the citizens.
No,
that's the implication.
But I think, I mean, the president is the head of Jubilee. You don't expect him to campaign for me.
So it's no more politics.
It's no more
politics.
politics.
Do you know what he's getting to, the governor is getting to? Is that the president spoke at some point in Kikuyu, and you have been hinting and hinting and hinting about that.
No.
So what is it that, when you say it's not the language, say it. What is it?
What I'm saying is that the president and the deputy president are Jubilee top officials. You don't expect them to campaign for me. They have to campaign for their party. And that's exactly what they did. And I don't think anybody should be disappointed in what they said, because it was politics and they were campaigning. And in addition, there are things which were said which you've not played.
All right, let's bring in our first caller. Maina is with us now. Maina, go ahead, ask your question for the governor. Maina, can you hear me?
I can hear you. My question is from our governor.
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
I own a hotel called Madowo City Center.
Right.
And my governor is my good friend.
Sorry,
what is your question?
Faster.
My question is, the outside my hotel, there are matatus that the governor, they have promised to remove those matatus from the hotel.
What is your question, Maina? We can't quite get it.
My question, when are they going to remove matatus? Because they have promised for 2-3 years that they are moving matatus, and the matatus are still there. We can't even, the customer cannot access the hotel.
Maina, you're on which road? You're on which road?
Hello?
Which road are you on?
On next to Gatema Road.
Next to Latema Road or on Latema Road?
No, Gatema Road.
Actually, this morning I was there and I came to look at it myself. I went to, I'm sure you must have seen me. And we've agreed on the way it will be cleared, and we'll station people so that there are no obstructions to access your hotel, Maina.
All right, Maina is listening to us on TV, so there's a bit of a delay. We'll hang up on that call. Maina, thank you for your time. And we want to talk about, a lot of people have this sentiment, Governor, that I want to get through to you so you respond to it. Miruka Austin, I voted for Kidero, but I will not do so this time. I will, because he has taken Nairobi backwards. A lot of people have this sentiment. What is your reaction and what do you want to tell them?
I think, I mean, what I've shown and what I've said, and is an unfortunate thing. Probably it's unfortunate they're feeling like that. But every data and every statistics show that Nairobi has improved.
There was a suggestion a few months ago, went quiet, but I suspect it's still somewhere in the ether, which is Nairobi is far too important location to actually be under county government. It should be a capital territory, more or less, or it should be under national government. It should be treated differently from the other 46 counties. That directly affects the sort of thing that you're trying to do.
I think, I mean, 12% of Nairobians live in Nairobi. And there would be no reason why they should be at disadvantage when not electing their leaders. They've already disadvantaged enough because, as I was mentioning, the per capita allocation budget to counties is 8,000 per head. Nairobians are only receiving 3,000. So Nairobi is already discriminated even in budgetary allocation. There's no reason why they should be.
But the point they were making was what happens with Abuja, what happens with Canberra in Australia, Washington, D.C., all this that are considered very important to the county as capital cities are not treated in the normal way devolution is treated in those countries. So they're treated as specific, what they call capital territories.
I guess, I mean, what we try to cure with that, what the Constitution tried to cure with that was to create a law which is called Urban Areas and Cities Act. But that hasn't worked very well. And as you know, I mean, some of the issues we have with national government is they owe us 69.5 billion shillings, which probably if they paid would go a long, long way in helping us sort out some of the issues that we have within the county.
Ronnie Karina asks, the very able Dr. Kidero even said in his tenure he would create a 24-hour economy for Nairobi. What happened?
Since we got only 12,000 lights, we're now at 60, and people are trading much longer. People used to fold up at 6. Now, because of the early lighting system, people are able to do business till 11, till 12. And we are we are designating some streets within the city center where people can do business overnight.
Another question, I guess, which goes to the management of the county. This is Jacqueline Kimani. Please ask the governor why contractors have not been paid for the past 3 years for civil works done from 2014.
If there are any specific one, I'll be quite happy to look at it because, I mean, payments are done when and they're due, when and if they're due, and funds availability permitting.
There's, again, a notion, and I'm going again broader, that counties should be able to raise their own funds, which implies being able to tax, which implies being able to sell bonds. Is that something you're looking at, so to free yourself from this thing where you're talking about the national government owing you several tens of billions of shillings?
Still, I mean, that does not cure the point that if you offer service to national government, they need to pay. If they take your land the way they took our land, they need to pay. But also, like all the other big cities, the law should be amended. The Public Finance Management Act need to be amended to allow especially the cities, Nairobi, Mombasa, probably some flexibility to raise funds, maybe through issuing of bonds.
All right, they're playing the music, which means we're out of time for this hour, but the governor is staying with us for a few minutes in the 9 p.m. hour so we can conclude this conversation. We'll still look through some of your questions. You can send them through to us on the hashtag Sidebar. Wallace and I will be back at 9 p.m. Please stick around.
Well, the nominations route, good place to carry on the sidebar conversation with Larry Madowo and Wallace Kantai, who are joined by the Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero.
And Mark, let's go straight into it, right? Because President Kenyatta speaking today said that ODM does not have democracy. That's why people like you got direct nominations.
I think that's not true, because in cases where people have expressed interest and there are no contestants or only one person expresses, and that's where the word Nyalodia comes. And all these people who got their direct nominations, there was nobody contesting against them, like for me in Nairobi. And I think for about the nomination period was open for nearly 4 months, and nobody else except myself.
He says that Raila Odinga wields these nomination certificates like a sweet and is looking who's coming and he hands them out.
In exchange for money.
In fact, I want to play it back one more time just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing.
Tayari wameanza kupatiana certificate. Kwa sababu hawa wanaamini yule ambaye ako na uwezo wa kulipa, na hawaamini demokrasia, wanaamini mtu akalie kiti. Alafu wanakuja hapa kutuambia fathers of democracy. Which father of democracy goes to hand out certificates without allowing the people to have any good in their country? Anazitoa tu kama peremende kwa mfuko. Nani anakuja, nani anakuja? Nani anakuja magoti vizuri? Nani ametoa pesa? Sina karatasi.
Governor, your reaction?
I think I'm looking at the president. The president looked very stressed, and he looked a little bit angry, and one can understand he lost his sister this evening, and we are very, very sorry. We are also very, very sorry about that. So, I mean, if I was one of the presidential handlers, I wouldn't have let him go out
but
in that state.
Does it not make a legitimate point that if you have all these nominations being handed out, and I think there were hundreds of them, including MCA, that does say something about the democracy within the Orange Democratic Movement?
No, when the tickets were handed out, it was only those people who had nobody contesting against them. The rest of the people, where there was more than one person, they're going to go into the nominations, I think, starting from the coming Friday.
Did you pay ODM to remain on the ballot?
For what?
He says it's about anaweza kalipa.
No, I think, there's nomination fees. I think for governors it was whatever the nomination fees is what they paid. For MPs, that's what they paid. For MCs, that's what they paid. For senators, that's what they... But I think he's imputing proper motive on, and still, it's politics.
Was there coercion to clear the way, not just for yourself, but for all these other people who had direct nominations?
I don't think, ODM is the most democratic party we have in this country. We are not seeing the kind of chaos that we are seeing in Jubilee, where they can't make up their mind. Take from the governorship, for instance. But I think that the president's statements were rather unfortunate and should be ignored.
You're a major financier of ODM, aren't you?
I'm not.
Have you ever...
Because, ODM is a major party. The Constitution provides a percentage of the budget to be given to parties, and that's sufficient for them.
You have said in public before about people who you paid for their campaigns.
Absolutely not. I don't think I have. And I know I haven't.
Have you ever contributed to Raila Odinga's campaign or anybody else within the party?
I haven't.
Not even a cent?
No.
Nairobi is a very contested space, not just within the party ODM, but nationally it's got a lot of attention being paid to it. You can see the amount of attention from the president, the amount of attention from your party leader. Everyone else pays attention to the city. So several things there. One, there's potential for chaos and violence because of how much people want not just the governorship, but the senatorial seat and all the parliamentary seats. There's potential for there to be dirty games and dirty tricks being played because of how important people think the county of Nairobi is. You're the governor. What do you intend to do about that?
I think you have two types of people. You have missionaries and mercenaries. And the kind of people you're describing would be mercenaries, people who would stop at nothing to get what they want. But people like myself, who I consider myself as a missionary, I'm there not because it's going to benefit me financially. I'm there not because it's going to make a difference to my life, but the difference I want to make in other people's lives. And probably that's why you've seen that the politics in Nairobi is sane, the politics in Nairobi is considered, and is done with respect and integrity.
If this seat, and we were speaking during the break about why you do this, and I remember asking you whether you want to be president, you shook your head. And the question is, why do you want to remain Nairobi governor? You said you get all this insult, everyone is on your case, you have no privacy left. Why bother being in a seat like this?
I think the reason why I wanted to be governor, I haven't fulfilled it, because I wanted to bring Nairobi back to its glory. I put plans in place, and I want to come back and complete it. I've done my 10 years. The law doesn't allow me to run after that, and I'll find other things to do. But in the meantime, I want to provide Nairobians with the service that I promised them.
Answer this question for me, Governor. Andy Mitch Mufasa says, what is the biggest challenge facing Nairobi, according to Kidero, and how will he address it if re-elected?
I think the biggest service is the biggest challenge for Nairobians is resource availability. You remember I was telling you that we only get half the per capita allocation for the gross domestic product. We spend well over 75% of both our collections and allocations on salaries. That leaves only 25% for development, which is not sufficient. And even that 25%, other people who are supposed to pay for the services they get, like land rates, like the government, they don't pay.
Senator Sonko has constantly complained about corruption. He has accused you personally of corruption and people around your office. Can you say you have been accountable with the money you have collected, and that's
Absolutely, and I can't say corruption doesn't exist. We've had cases of corruption, and so far we fired well over 300 people, and another 200 who are on suspension and were in court.
So what about in your office?
In my office? You mean me?
You as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't handle, I handle issues with the strictness of the integrity. Of course, there have been accusations, but they've remained accusations.
There have been many accusations, we should point out. And can you say here, for the purpose and the benefit of those who are watching, that you have not personally had a conflict of interest situation where companies associated with you or your associates were doing business with the county?
Absolutely. I've never suffered any conflict of interest. None of my companies or any of my associates has ever done business with the county. Of course, I mean, a little bit earlier on, we were saying, you did ask me a question, and I mentioned to you that people assume that if you become a governor, you just walked from home, you've never done any jobs before.
Let me ask that question, in fact.
Yeah,
Edwin
yeah.
Opande, I wanted to know, Mr. Governor, all these hotels you're developing in Westlands, it doesn't match your salary. Isn't that corruption?
Governorship is not the first job I've ever done. I mean, I've been working from my 20s. And,
including here?
Including here. You know, I was managing director here. And I can't say that I was being paid bananas. And I can tell you that one of the things I've never been is a Ben 10. I made my money working responsibly.
What is a Ben 10?
Ben 10. I'll send you a dictionary.
Or who are you referring to as a Ben 10 here?
I'm not referring to anybody. I said I refer to myself. I've never been a Ben 10. So I've never made any money as a Ben 10.
This person says your developments do not match your salary. So isn't that corruption?
Are we talking about salaries now or salaries I've earned from the time I was 20?
Your current salary, I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, but you don't invest. What you're investing is based on what you've earned over the years. I'll be turning 60 and I've been earning for 40 years.
People have said, and you yourself have said, the last 4 years of this is your first term, has been about planning, has been about straightening things out, making sure City Hall is clean. If you come back, and it's a big if, you come back, how should we judge you down the road? At what point will you say, you yourself, that I may not have done what I intended to do, I may have failed? More than the successes, what will you say that you didn't do, if it comes to that?
We've got I've laid what I need to do in health, in education, in planning, in housing development, in infrastructure, and inter-ethnic relations. And I'll tell you, if I feel I'm not, I know where we are at the moment, I know what needs to be done, and that's what I'm going to come back to do. But if I felt I was not delivering, I would not continue letting the Nairobi people out.
You'd resign?
I'd walk out.
I
would just tell Nairobians, I'm sorry guys, you gave me a job. I feel that I'm not able to do it. I'm not able to meet your expectations. I leave. But at this point, I know that I will deliver beyond the expectations. That's why I want to run again.
Governor, what do you tell those who are disappointed in your first 4 years?
Hold your horses.
People like David Okoth says, Governor Kidero has failed Nairobians, just empty promises. He must pack and go, or pack and go, because either way he must go.
They are perpetual and perennial complainants, and you expect that in life. But there are people whose life we've made a difference too. They know what we've done. They know what a difference we've made. And those are the people we're working for, not the people who perennially complain and who are perennially dissatisfied. It doesn't matter what you do to them.
Is that why you'd put Mutuma Matthew, who wrote a piece in The Nation this week, where he says that for letting Nairobi sink into squalor, Governor Kidero deserves a sack? I just want to point out this particular bit from his piece. He says, when he was our boss, meaning when you were at Nation, Mr. Kidero impressed us because he was numerate. Journalists can't count. And his head was full of statistics, and we've seen that tonight. Like a child who does not live up to the promise, Mr. Kidero has raised our taxes, but alas, is no better than the fools he replaced.
I have greatest of respect for Mutuma. I think what he has is a bit of generalization. He went a little bit off by not being very respectful to the Masai Manyatas.
Speaking of Masai Manyatas, thank you very much.
Yeah, talking about Manyatas, he wasn't very respectful. I think he needed to be sensitive.
What about his wider problem?
There are certain places where he had a point. And I think we've discussed also on infrastructure, on rapid bus transit system, on the train mass transport system, the issues that we've discussed about garbage. So there are certain places, and I've taken them positively. But obviously there are certain places where he was off.
Okay. So you spoke about Manyatas, no offense taken, at least on my part, but that's that for this week.
We must get the governor to agree, Wallace, before we go, that when there is a candidate from the other parties, he'll come back and we can do a debate.
You remember he said that because there's no candidate, we shouldn't have a roundtable with anyone else. So if there's a candidate, will you come back?
Yeah, when there's a candidate.
When Jubilee picks, when the other parties pick, will you come back and we can have a substantive debate?
I will be here.
You said that on national TV, so
I
at
will
least
be here.
There's a firm commitment.
Good pledge.
Excellent. Yes. Governor Kidero, thank you so much for coming on tonight and spending an hour and a half plus with us. We appreciate that time.
And as just we finish, I'll go back, allow me to pass our condolences to the Kenyatta family for losing our former mayor, the first lady mayor of the city, the second lady mayor in our country. We stand in solidarity with the family at this sad time that we've lost our former mayor.
Asante sana, Wallace.
That is it next Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday it is.
Great.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break right now on NTV Tonight. Gladys and Mark are back after the break.